Who are the worst fighters in the UFC? Well, today, guys, we're going to be working that out on this tier list. I've got fighters all around the screen who I consider bad to absolutely terrible. And then we're going to be ranking them from basically S being you are terrible, never fight again, get out of the sport, all the way down to F being you're still pretty bad. And obviously the middle ones are pretty bad too. So I'm MMA Tizzer. Subscribe if you're new. Leave a like if you enjoy the video. And without further ado, let's get right into this. So starting off with this one's sad. I'm going to be honest, guys. It's really tough to admit, but we've got to be realistic with ourselves here. Tony Ferguson is not a good fighter anymore. He's kind of bad. Well, he is bad, I'm going to be honest. And Tony Ferguson is going in E. And I feel really ashamed to say it. He might even actually go in D. Oh no, right, Tony's in D. It's a tough day, but we have to come to terms with this. Tony Ferguson is finished. He is a washed fighter. He has terrible stand-up. His chin seems to have gone. His cardio seems to have actually got worse somehow. And I don't even think he's focused on fighting anymore. He has loads of problems outside the octagon too, but his last performance against Nate Diaz was absolutely terrible. He looks completely awful, and it's pretty clear that the Chandler knockout has really changed him. And it's a good job he didn't end up fighting Li Jingliang, because that would have been a first-round KO. And I'm really not looking forward to Tony Ferguson fighting Bobby Green. I think he's probably going to get knocked out. I think he's going to get knocked out. So before you guys comment saying, why have you put Tony here? That's so unfair. Well, first of all, he's on a 4-fight losing streak, and I'm pretty sure he's about to get knocked out in his next fight. Is there some guys he beats? Yes. There's a few guys in lightweight that he beats, but they're also extremely terrible. Anyway, we move on to another one. Terrence McKinney. He's going in F because he has potential, but he's a very coin flip fighter. You know, Terrence, he has one strategy of winning. He'll try and knock you out in the first 2 minutes, and if not, he gasses and basically gives up. And as we saw in his last fight, that didn't go very well for Terrence because he got flying knee KO'd. And honestly, that isn't good for you, clearly. And I don't expect him to be any better in his fight, which is literally this Saturday. So hopefully he wins that. I'm hoping he does. But honestly, I don't think he will. And, you know, his performances are very, you know, he either wins in the first round or he gets destroyed. So that's Terrence McKinney. If he wins this weekend and proves me wrong, he can get off this list. But for now, he's there. We move on to another one. Higher up the list. B tier, or maybe A. B tier, we're going for Takashi Sato. This guy, he doesn't throw enough punches, okay? That's his problem. If he threw, he probably wouldn't even be on this list. But this guy genuinely throws like a striker round. How are you meant to win a fight when you throw a striker round? It's awful. Like, he plays the Derek Lewis strategy without the Derek Lewis power. He has no power. And he's basically just... I've seen punching bags hurt people more. You know, when they bounce back and hit the fighter in the face or something, or hit them in the body. This guy doesn't have offense. So how is he meant to win a fight? I know some people say the great offense is a great defense. This guy took it a little bit too literally because he's really trying on the defense thing. But the problem is he doesn't have a great defense. He got flatline KO'd pretty recently. And in his last fight against Temba Garimbo, he got destroyed. So, you know, Takashi, throw a punch, please, for the love of God. You know, I'm trying to help you out here, bro. Like, this guy, he's got even worse. And it's like he's shy after the Brian Battle fight. He's like, oh, God, I'm not throwing. I'm going to get head kick KO'd again. So he's even more scared to throw than he was before. This guy's volume stats, I haven't looked at them, but I can imagine they're really, really bad. He hardly throws, hardly ever lands. And I can't see him winning a fight anytime soon if he continues down this horrible, horrible path. He might have been cut from the UFC, actually. We move on to another one. Donald Cerrone. I'm pretty sure he retired, actually, but he might have retired, but he's going in C tier off his last few fights for him because that was terrible. Okay? He went on a massive losing streak. I'm pretty sure he lost 5 or 6 fights in a row. It's terrible. I'm pretty sure his last fight, he got submitted by Jim Miller in about 30 seconds flat. It was a terrible performance. He gave up. He was basically fighting for the money. Can you blame him? No. Okay, listen, he was on a good contract. We all know that. He was just trying to make a few more million. And to be honest, He didn't take too much damage in some of them. Obviously, the Jim Miller fight, you're getting 200k just to get submitted in 30 seconds. It's not the end of the world, is it? But it did tarnish his legacy, and he was terrible at the end. He was completely done with fighting. His heart wasn't in it, his mind wasn't in it, and you could tell completely. And that is why he's there. We move on. Oh, Bruno Silva. Now, it's kind of hard to believe that Bruno makes this list. He's going in F because he's bad, but he isn't terrible by any means. Bruno Silva went 3 rounds of Alex Pereira and arguably won the second. Okay, where is that Bruno Silva? Where is he gone? Can anyone please tell me where he's gone? He's disappeared off the face of the earth because nowadays Bruno's a bum. He literally lost recently to in terrible fashion. I predicted he would lose that because I know who Bruno Silva is, but this guy, whenever you need him to win, he will never win, okay? Bad on the feet, bad on the ground, bad cardio, and his chin. So, when he's fighting Alex Pereira, this guy has a god chin, okay? No one was knocking him out that day, Bulletproof Bruno Silva. More recently, when he fights Brendan Allen, he has no chin. When he fights GM3, granted, it was 3rd round Mearshart, who is a very dangerous opponent, gets knocked out by him. So it's really frustrating to watch Bruno Silva. That is why he's here. And he really needs a win. Otherwise, he's probably going to get cut from the UFC. We move on. Nico Price. Nico Price is frustrating to watch, okay? So this guy fought Phil Rowe. And when I was watching that fight, I genuinely forgot that Nico Price was 33. Because he fights like a 45-year-old, okay? This guy, when he fought Robbie Lawler, you'd think he was the retirement fighter. You'd think Robbie Lawler was the 33-year-old and he was a retirement fighter. Because, oh my God, how is he that bad at 33? I don't get it. He's never been really good, but he's got some crazy finishes. So I think people kind of got on a hype train that didn't really exist in the first place. But yeah, he isn't good. He just got flatlined by Robbie Lawler. So after getting flatlined by Robbie Lawler, who literally retired after he flatlined you, which felt pretty personal, if I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure what the future is looking like for you, Nico, except it's not very bright, okay? That's all I have to say about Nico. We move on. Nate Diaz. Now, I'm a bit confused. Nate Diaz might be fighting again. He might not be. I don't really know what's happening. It's all a bit confusing there. But he's going in B because his last performance was atrocious, okay? You could tell he just showed up for the paycheck. I mean, this guy literally looked like someone's dad, you know what I mean? This guy looked like someone's dad was showing up to get a few bags. And he fought like someone's dad. This guy fought like a dad at a barbecue. It looked like he had no idea what he was doing in there. He gave up, he didn't even want to get up after he got rocked. And it was just a really bad performance from Nick. I don't really have much else to say. Obviously, huge difference to how he used to be in the UFC, but, age catches up to everyone. He's taken a good bit of damage too, so yeah. And obviously, Robbie Lawler beat him as well, so, maybe Robbie Lawler has a curse that if he beats you, you become the worst fighter ever. Or maybe he just gets matched up against terrible people, which is also very, very likely. But Nick Diaz, shadow of his former self, and, should retire, but I think he actually might fight again for a bit more money. We move on. Clay Guida. Now, Clay Guida is a tricky one because Clay Guida somehow still beats people, and it really amazes me, but he does. So, that's Clay Guida for you, always impressing everyone. So yeah, not good from Clay Guida. I expect he will be retiring soon too. He recently lost a fight, and we move on. OSP, he's going in A tier, okay? OSP is terrible, okay? OSP was never really that good. I can't believe this guy fought John Jones, but he was definitely better than he was. But nowadays, talk about showing up for a paycheck. This guy gets finished by everyone. I don't even think there's a light heavyweight he can beat because he's so bad. Okay, he gives up instantly. He has no hands and he has no grappling either. He's literally useless. He has no cardio either. He has no saving grace. Usually a UFC fighter is good at one thing, okay? Well, looking at this list, maybe that isn't true. But, some of these guys are good at something, okay? Or kind of good at something. OSP is not good at anything anymore, ever. So, I can't put him any lower. And he's lucky he doesn't make S tier, to be honest. But yeah, OSP, terrible fighter nowadays. Wasn't amazing back in the day, but he was definitely better. And he gives up instantly as soon as he meets adversity. You can't really train yourself out of that. He just doesn't care about the fight game anymore, and he has no hands. Boxing's terrible. He fights like he's drunk. And bad chin. Yeah, just bad mindset for MMA. We move on. Derek Brunson. I feel like he goes D or C. Yeah, he goes D with Tony. I think that's fair. Both on losing streaks. And I'd say they're both at similar points in their career. It's retirement now. It's over now. You're not going to win it. Derek could probably be like a very, very bad middleweight, but so could Tony. Tony could probably be a very bad lightweight, okay? Or a very bad welterweight, but they're both terrible, okay? So Derek, his wrestling's bad now. His shots are so sloppy. He's taken a lot of damage. His chin wasn't that bad, but after the Duplessis fight, took a lot of damage. And his cardio is awful. He gasses within like the first 2 minutes of a round. Like he doesn't even make it to the end of the round and then he gasses mid-round, which is crazy. Like I can't even believe that exists, but it's like he's a heavyweight in disguise, But Derek Brunson, I mean, we know what Brunson's striking's like. All I have to say is Brunson's striking, and it explains why he's on this tier list, Need I say more? Anyway, we move on. Speaking of terrible striking, Jimmy Crute. Now, Jimmy Crute is quite good on the ground, okay? He's pretty good. People go, oh, shut up, he's class on the ground. He just got submitted by Alonzo Menifield, who's a striker. I'm not a very good striker at that, okay? Obviously, in the first fight, the reason why Jimmy Crute is here is because he fights like a drunken man in a bar fight. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but this is what it looks like. So now you know. Jimmy Crute, he looks like he's had a very, very long night of drinking and he's decided to pick on someone to fight. And that is literally his fight style on the feet. He's terrible on the feet. He gets lit up. Got a good chin though, I'll give him that. But this guy just wobbles around after the punches. And he retired, I'm pretty sure. He just retired after that Menifield thing and he's 27. So at least he's aware, unlike some guys on this list who are just in denial that they're bad anymore and are still trying to fight. Jimmy Crute knows. Is Jimmy Crute done? I don't think Jimmy Crute's done, okay? Take 2 years off. Focus on your striking. There's probably winnable matchups in light heavyweight for you. Let's be honest, it is a terrible division. So, don't give up, Crute, okay? Don't give up. Okay, we move on. Another A-tier fighter, Michael Johnson. Now, the reason Michael Johnson's here, because I know he has a lot of good wins. The reason is because Michael Johnson is a coin flip fighter. So if Michael Johnson fought Ngannou and he flipped a coin, he'd have a 50% chance of knocking him out, okay? If Michael Johnson flipped a coin to fight someone who has never fought UFC before and will get knocked out by the first punch thrown and will not grapple or literally can't use their hands. They've got a rule where they can't punch. He'd somehow find a way to lose that if he flipped a coin. This guy, literally 50-50, so unpredictable, will either knock out or get knocked out nowadays. And he'll knock out someone who's way better than him and then lose to someone who's supposedly way worse than him. So that's why he's there. He recently just got flatline KO'd. Very iconic KO. He should probably be looking at retirement soon, but I reckon he goes for one more title run. No, I'm joking. We move on. Obviously, you're thinking S tier. There's no one in S tier, is there? Where are they? Well, he's here. And S stands for Sam Alvey, because he is, in my opinion, the worst fighter in the UFC. He may have just retired, but very current, very recent, so he's going here. And then the reason being, he went on like an 8-7 fight losing streak. And I know he did get a robbery in one of them that probably should have gone to him. And he did draw another, but this guy's bad, okay? Sam Alvey, this is not hate, okay? Do not interpret this as hate towards Sam Alvey. I like Sam Alvey. He's a funny guy, okay? He's a good guy. But, his last fight against Olejniczuk, that summed up why he shouldn't be in the UFC anymore, didn't it? He got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. He experienced the Polish power firsthand. And Sam Alvey, one of the worst fighters nowadays. Used to be pretty good though. I will say that. Used to be good. Sam Alvey, I will say he has a knack for making it look like decisions can be somewhat controversial, or it's an early stoppage. Like he'll never really have a stoppage where you're like, yeah, that was clear stoppage. He'll always be up to protest. Classic Sam Alvey. What more can I say? He is truly a legend of the MMA community, and I'm sure he will go down in the UFC Hall of Fame as one of the worst fighters of all time. He definitely deserves a spot there, just for that. If there was a worst performance of the night bonus, he'd usually get that. That is it. That is the tier list. The worst fighters, obviously, there's a few I couldn't remember. I forgot some names. Remind me in the comments who else should be on this list. Obviously, there's a lot more fighters that should be on this list, but due to time constraints, we can only get a few. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss any future content. I also have a membership program, so join that for exclusive videos, exclusive live streams, stuff like that, and you'll get a cool badge next to your name too. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.